Hello everybody, Wine with Jimmy here. Thank you so much for clicking by. This channel is all about wine education, helping you get more enjoyment from every drop of wine. Okay, let's rock and roll. We're going to be talking about North Italy. Italy in the WSET textbook is split into three sections: North, Central, and Southern. Here we are just looking at North Italy, which encompasses places like Piemonte, Veneto, Alto Adige, Trentino, and Friuli-Venezia Giulia. The short written questions that I'm going through here are exceptionally useful for you to prepare yourselves for the examinations. The way it will go is that I will pose questions and then I'll walk through the answers to those questions, so you'll have good understanding of how to word your answers to these key questions. It's a good idea for you to have your own go, so please pause at the question page, write your answers and see how they correlate to my examiner's notes. Now, this video is a free video available on YouTube, a small section of it. If you want the full, much longer, extended version, perhaps we call it the director's cut, then we will need to go across to the e-learning platform. You'll see the address there on your slide. That's e-learningwine.winewithjimmy.com. And here you'll be able to subscribe to the WSET Level 3 package, which will get you huge backstage access to all of the exclusive videos, lots of multiple choice questions, flashcards, written questions. There's a huge amount to look into there. So let's start to look at our first questions. Now, it's quite classic that WSET examiners set questions that have things like labels, map questions, maybe tabulated questions. So here we have a label of an Amarone della Valpolicella from Sartori. It's going to start to ask you some questions about this label. First of all, name the grape variety. So the key command verb is name, command verb is name. So just easy one-word answer will do. And then describe the wine. So it'll be 1 mark for the grape variety and 4 marks for the description of the wine. So the grape variety is Corvina. You're fine with also putting Corvina Veronese. This is a dry or off-dry, either will do, full-bodied with high alcohol, medium-high tannins, and intensely concentrated red berries, dried fruits, and spice. The marks there are for the sugar level, the body and alcohol, the tannins, and then something to do with its flavor profile. That'll get you the 4 marks there. Please make sure that you look at how many marks are available to therefore structure your answer. If it said just here, name the grape variety, and then for 1 mark, what's briefly the style, you'll say a full-bodied red wine, something like that. But this is asking for much more than that. Briefly, describe the production method to obtain this style. So the style here you've identified is a full-bodied, alcoholic, medium-high tannin red wine with all of that big concentration. So how do we get to that point? The production method. So this is talking about winemaking. The grapes are picked early when they're still high in acidity and then dried indoors via the passito method. So here, picking early, drying, passito method, that's enough there to get you 2 marks. This will concentrate the sugars and flavors, which gives you that intensity you've just listed on the first question. I've added in for good measure, but I don't think it's necessary. It says fermentation will start in winter, but in fact, it's not necessary. The 3 marks there will be for picking early, creating that high acidity. Dried indoors, that's a passito method, concentrated sugars and flavors. Pinot Grigio is produced across the north of Italy. Please fill out the table below with the key style from each region and the reason for the style. So this could be grape growing or winemaking. So first of all, the regions here are Alto Adige, Veneto, and Friuli-Venezia Giulia. And you'll see here 12 marks. That's a huge amount. You'll see there are 6 gaps. So there are 2 marks here per gap in that table. Let's begin with looking at the Alto Adige. This is a very northernly region within Italy. In fact, it is the most northernly, attached with Trentino, but to the northern section on the Austrian border. So therefore, this is going to be fairly mountainous and much cooler. Let's talk about the style first. These are light to medium-bodied Pinot Grigios, high in acid, with mineral, citric and green notes to it. Okay, so how do we come to that style? It's a cooler growing area with a large diurnal range. That gives you the acidity. And also German and French clones produce smaller berries here. So these are the certain clones of Pinot Grigio producing smaller berries with more concentration. That's when you're getting a bit more body from the wine. Veneto is next. The style of Venetian Pinot Grigio tends to be very simple and fruity. 2 marks just for those 2 things there. What is the reason for this? Well, we have flat, fertile plains just north of Venice. You've only got to think about Venice, and that a lot of Venice is technically underwater. It's a very low altitude to the plains just to the north of this, for large volume production, because you get well irrigated, flat, fertile landscape. Also, the Venetian clones of Pinot Grigio produce larger, fleshier berries, which are more water bound. So they're going to produce light, simple, fruity wines. Now, if you want to carry on and find out what the answers for the last part are on Friuli-Venezia Giulia, and also all the additional questions in this series, you'll need to go across to the Wine with Jimmy e-learning platform, and you'll find the details for that both in the description of this video and on your slide there. Sign up to the Level 3 package and you'll get access to huge volumes of exclusive videos, including videos like this.